Hello everybody, this is Abraham with No Short Computer Services. What we got here is a late model 2016 MacBook. It just says MacBook. I don't know which version it is. It's MacBook Air, that's what it looks like. So what it has is just one USB-C port and one headphone jack. Problem with this one is the USB-C port is not working and the Wi-Fi is not working. My suspicion is it might be water damage, might be foul or something. I've looked at the port itself. It looks a little dark, but it could be from just plugging in things in and out. Also, I noticed that the charging port is bent, and that's not a good sign. Let's take it apart. I've just like contributing to YouTube, I also check YouTube for how to take things apart, and interestingly I haven't found proper instruction on how to take these things apart. What I see is people take the screws out and then just pop the door, which is honestly not how it's done. So people are hiding stuff. Let me show you how it's done. So I used the envelope that was just a junk mail that I received, and I inserted it just tiny bit along the edges of the back panel. And what that allows me to do is to try and see if I can push the back panel up and disengage the locks. So that didn't work. I was trying to pull it up with the back lifted a little bit. So that means the locks are snap-ons. What we're going to do is we're going to take the case opener tool and just insert it right where the envelope meets. Let me just reposition this a little. It's a little difficult to do this with one hand. So I just insert the case opener and we're going to slide it down. Pop. So when you hear pop, that means the lock has disconnected or disengaged. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Let me insert it. I need two hands. Okay, so I got it inserted. Let's pop. And just so you know, you need a lot of effort. There we go. You need a lot of effort to pop this thing. So if you were to follow the directions of other YouTubers, they're nice. Not saying anything, but if you were to try and rip it off the way they're showing it, you would definitely damage the connectors. So do not open it the way it's shown on YouTube. I mean, you open it the way I show you on YouTube. Here are all the guts of the computer. As you can see, the circuit board is actually attached to the bottom. I don't like it. In fact, I don't like anything about this computer. I'm gonna have to see why this computer is not working. The charging port is not working, or actually the charging port is working. The USB part of the charging port is not working, and the Wi-Fi's are not working. I'm gonna pause it, look it through, and see what we can do. So I'm in the business of fixing computers, but Apple doesn't make it easy. Not gonna complain. Those people who fix Apples know about everything that is happening here. But what I wanted to say is that the antennas for Wi-Fi are combined with speakers. And I knew that, I heard that. The problem that I found, well, first of all, you can't really work on this freaking computer unless you disconnect all the cables, and I don't want to disconnect all the cables. This is the only one that I disconnected, which is not difficult. You lift this little piece of plastic and you pull this tab up and it slides out. Thank you, Apple, for not putting glue over here and gluing it like crazy to the keyboard so it doesn't slide out by itself, because apparently everything on Apple slides out by itself. Doesn't matter. What I'm noticing is over time we have a lot of metal around us. Let me go get a Q-tip. Where the speakers are, I just swabbed it. You see what that is? That's metal. Metal shavings. All around us, what I was going to say is all kinds of metal shavings. It's interesting, as I move the Q-tip across, the shavings that I pulled out started reacting to the magnet. This is metal shavings attracted to the antenna. I don't know if this short circuits the antenna or what, but having metal shavings on a high frequency, or I should say very high frequency antenna, is undesirable. This is bad engineering, people. Apple, if you're watching it, re-engineer it or put some kind of plastic protection on here. Okay, so this, oh my God, look at that. Look at all those metal shavings. All that metal was in the Wi-Fi antennas. This computer wasn't part of metallurgical industry or anything, but I think I know what causes the Wi-Fi issues on here. Now the Wi-Fi card does work. It is recognized. It connects and disconnects. I hope that the quality of the YouTube is going to be able to transmit this. See, there it is. That's the metal shavings. Let me go get a different Q-tip. I don't want to put those shavings back in. Okay, let's keep going. Look at that, pay dirt. Metal shavings on antennas. It looks to me that Apple engineers are thinking out of their butts. What kind of shit is this? Excuse my language. I don't think kids are watching this. And honestly, when I looked at how to separate the back and front panels, I noticed the shavings. I don't know. This computer belongs to a woman. I don't think she's going around places where they work on metal. This is just stuff that's around us. Let's see. Focus, focus. See the metal? Now, in a speaker, it's not a big deal. What it causes in speakers is crackling noise. So if you have crackling noise on your speakers, check for metal shavings or pieces of metal. Steel, primarily, the magnetized stuff. You can see that on... This is such a poor design. The nice thing about cotton is the fibers trap the metal shavings, so that's helping out a lot. You don't want to use any kind of solvents and liquids. They won't help anyway, but you can see the tiny black marks. That's metal shavings. I'm going to preserve these Q-tips for posterity, show it to the customer. Okay, here are the locks, which apparently nobody ever shows. Let me focus on them. These are the locks, so you really just pull on them and they separate. But if you pull too hard, you're risking damaging this connector. This is the other one. Another thing that I see on here, as you can see here, liquid damage. Now, liquid damage near antennas could also cause issues. It grounds the antennas, which reduces the signal strength, which could cause issues with transmitter and receiver assemblies. Doesn't seem to be any liquid damage on here. Next, what I want to do is pull out the USB-C connector and look at that. Okay, what we have so far is this. There is a Phillips head screw and a hex that's holding the USB-C connector. There is a flange that holds, oh come on, that holds the connector from the motherboard to USB-C. What I really like is that Apple has a USB-C connector separate from the harness connector, so there are two separate pieces. What I noticed was, probably from the fall, this piece got deformed a little bit, and I think that this connector got slightly crooked, not connected well. But what I also noticed is it's impossible to remove this connector without taking apart the whole computer. How crazy is that? This could have been designed so that this could be replaced. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time on it. I spent a little bit of time, and it's just not coming out. It's designed very, very weirdly. Granted, this is the first time working on this machine for me. I cannot pull this out to look at it. So I'm going to have to take the whole thing apart, risking damaging something else just so I can pull out this connector. That's crazy. So far, what I have done is I've taken out the two screws that hold the hinge together to the board, to the top half, and that's not helping. I was thinking that you twist it a little bit and it allows you to, it unlocks the connector, but it twists but doesn't do damn thing. Not a damn thing. By the way, it's a trick. If you need to turn it a little bit, you could just use the hex that fits into the hole, and you can just turn it. Usually that's enough. Turn it a little bit, it releases whatever it's holding and slides out. Done it many times. Not on this computer. Does not want to work. Crazy, crazy. Why would you use a Phillips head on one side of the connector and hex on the other? Why just not use hexes or Phillipses? Why it has to be complicated? Well, I guess it's Apple. So I'm thinking that the problem that I was looking for is in the fact that when I pulled out the top that was holding it together, it just snapped out. It wasn't held in there. I think it was messed up in there because, like I said, it looks like it fell on this. This connector is badly damaged. It's working, but it's badly damaged. But it would have wiggled it just enough to possibly disconnect this. And like I said, it was holding in there to pass the charging, but not the USB, because it's a complicated connector. Wow, look at that. Too many things can be simpler. USB only needs 2 wires. Well, I will be reassembling, testing, and we'll see how it goes. I want to make one more suggestion. When you reassemble this, make sure that you bend this holder like this, so that when you put it in, it puts pressure against the connector. Which never hurts to have a little extra pressure. Just like that. Phillips head over here, hex under the cable there. So now let's check if our Wi-Fi is working. And sure enough, we can see the networks. But honestly, networks were visible. What was happening is it wouldn't connect to them. And not all networks are visible, I should say that. So what I'm saying is that it was limited in scope to how far this would work. So as you can see, we have a lot of networks right now, but it was only maybe 3 that was showing up. And when I would click on mine, because it's the closest one, it would spin and never connect. So I would say metal shavings did not help. Let's check if our USB things work. All right. Pause. For USB, we're going to need to disconnect the power supply. This is kind of, I don't like that. What if you don't have enough power to run it? Then we're just going to plug in our regular USB to a USB-C. And I can't show you the screen, I'm sorry, but it does come up. Let me see if I could just maximize. So there is, well, trust me, it does come up. I was hoping there would be a noise like on a Windows machine, ding ding. So at any rate, it does work. So I'm thinking that the connector got dislodged, disconnected itself, and let me see if I could do a little differently. All right, so what I can do is show you this part of the screen and plug in. Ta-da! It's there. And I can open it. That's mine. So it does open. I can see my stuff. And if I pull it out, I'm going to have a complaint department. telling me that I didn't eject it properly, but it does work. Very interesting specimen. Pluses and minuses all over the place. Big minuses is it's very difficult to work on, meaning that connector is easily replaceable, but you have to take the whole computer apart. Why? Beyond me. Should have been designed where it would be serviceable, because this is something that could break. Also, you can see the holes right here. These are the cooling holes right here. All Macs have them, but not all Macs have speakers associated with Wi-Fi. And not all Macs attract metal shavings to antennas to decrease how they work. So, poor design. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this helps somebody. And I do hope that it helps somebody. Give me likes if you like it. Subscribe, enjoy, save money, and have a good day.